Hey guys, it's Tiff and Tony with Popcorn and Champagne, and we have a special guest in the house with us today.
We have the Blaine Bishop in the house. If you guys don't know about Blaine Bishop, you have been living under a rock.
That's right.
Can I tell you some of the things about Blaine Bishop? Let me just give him his flowers right now.
Yeah.
He was drafted in 1993.
Oh my.
And that was a long time
I
ago.
know,
wasn't
y'all
it?
make me feel so old.
And also, he is the host. He was in the NFL for how many years, Blaine?
10.
Wow.
Yeah, I got lucky.
That's a nice career.
It is. He getting a pension.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's also the host of 104.5 The Zone. You can hear him every day. It's part of Titans Radio, pregame and postgame.
Yes. Nashville royalty.
Nashville
guys.
royalty. He's married to Sella
Yes.
of 20 years, and she's stunningly gorgeous.
Oh, no. 20, 25.
Excuse me.
25.
25
Yeah, we had an
years. Let's
anniversary,
get it.
yeah.
Let's get it. And they
Yeah.
have one son, Chase.
Yeah, we only have
Welcome.
one. Yeah,
And you're a native of Indianapolis.
That's right.
Attended
Knocktown.
Ball State.
Mm-hmm.
You guys don't know about Ball State. It's number one of the top broadcast schools.
Yeah, David
It's got
Letterman.
David Letterman. Yep.
Yeah.
So, and-
also before that, if you want to get, I went to a Division II school my freshman year.
And what
Wow.
was that school?
St. Joseph's. It doesn't even have
Yeah.
a
Wow.
football program anymore.
Well, good. Well, listen.
Yeah, so you got to
welcome
learn
to
that.
the Blaine Bishop to Popcorn and
That's
Champagne.
right. Oh, Blaine
Yes.
Elwood.
Excuse me.
Oh,
Blaine
my.
Elwood.
Yeah, that's
Better
after my
known
uncle.
as
After my uncle.
Better known as Woody.
Okay, so
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a little known Black history fact.
That's
You
right.
did not know
So-
that Blaine Bishop's real nickname of sorts is Woody. So if you see him out, say, "Hey, Woody."
Yeah.
Well, only his closest ones can call him that, so I don't want you to get
Right.
spoke out.
Right.
But
He
he's
won't
going to
speak you
shed
out.
some light
Yeah.
on this name and where he comes from. So let us have it, Blaine. Like,
Welcome to Popcorn and Champagne.
Yes.
Thank you for being here. We
Appreciate you ladies
being here.
really having me on. I'm excited about it, and just to tell my story
Yeah.
about where I came from. A
Yeah.
lot of people don't know here. Just naturally, the team moved from Houston to Tennessee. So
So let me ask you a question.
that was
So you
fun
were
to-
drafted with the Oilers, right?
yes, correct.
Okay. And tell us how that all happened. Give us a little bit of how you got to the Oilers, because I know it's been a struggle, right? It's been it's hard.
It was hard. Naturally, it was a boyhood dream. Naturally, that I make it to the NFL. I was a running back all through my whole life. Little leagues,
Wow.
Middle school, high school. And I played defensive back too in high school. That's when I started playing defensive back a little bit in junior high, because there was always some running back thought they was better than me. So I didn't never agree with that. So, I think they knew a little bit more than me, but at that time, so that always motivated. And what I'm getting at is I always had some motivation to continue to work and grind. And I had a great support system, really, to be honest. I had not only my family and all my aunts. I grew up in a single parent home, and just my mother, who was hardcore, tough, hard-working lady. A lot of respect for the late, great Meyer Jean Bishop.
Love that.
love
Love that.
And she protected me from all the things that I needed to be protected from. I would say that growing up in the projects there in Baltimore Apartments in Indianapolis, Indiana, right behind the Boys and Girls Club. And that brings me to another person who was influential, not only on my aunts, but also the director of that Boys and Girls Club was Ralph Dow, who's passed away. But he was also a professor at Marion College. And one thing he would say to me, and I think it just kind of happened throughout my time always going to the club every single day, at least especially in the summertime, is that I was having success at not just sports, but everything that I did.
Yeah.
And he was just fascinated by it. And whether I was playing chess and I became a chess champion, to diving champion,
Wow.
swimming champion, to naturally football. Never got a champion being in basketball. I definitely played basketball though.
So
and
not
track,
only,
and so I was
not
doing all
only
those
football
things.
saved your life, all these other things.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I mean, I did karate. We had these debate teams. I was on all these different things that he had me infiltrated in, and it really just helped open my mind that, that I could be successful at anything that I really wanted to do.
Right.
It was one thing, it's one thing hearing from your parents or, your family members who always tell me, oh, you're special, this and that. But this guy would say this every day that I saw him in pass, and he's like, hey, man, you're special. So he really was an advocate, and he really made it a point on his part to make sure that I got out of the project. So his son went to Cathedral High School, which are a private Catholic schools, kind of like Father Ryan here or any school like that, JP2. And so he basically forced them to take me. I'm gonna say it that way, and because at that time I was still, even though I was a running back and I had a lot of accolades as a young player, I was still small.
Yeah.
And so my freshman year I was 5'3".
Did that make you tougher because you were not the norm? You were not the weight, the height.
Well, I never met the measurables, I guess, but I would say I would use my brains, my toughness, of course, and my work ethic. And I thought no one was ever going to outwork me. You may be a better player than me, but if we do 10 reps, all I got to do is win 6. And I win because it's not expected that I was going to win versus you. So that's how I always looked at it, even when I got to the pros. So I really had a lot of great support, but I had some advocate, but I had a lot of luck too along the way and support. And I was just driven. I think it was in me, based off all the people around me. And I had this quiet confidence about me. I became this, leader and all these different things because all the things that I did Center for Leadership Development Group. My aunt would pay for and send me there every summer. When I was growing up, I went to Culver Military Academy, which that Ralph Dow guy, and that's why I actually got drafted by the Oilers. That's another story.
Okay.
Talk about that. Tell us about that.
Well, the late great K.S. Bud Adams went to Culver Military Academy.
Really?
Oh, wow.
And when he drafted me, he told me that's why he drafted me.
Because you went there.
Yep. And guess what? I didn't go to school there. I just went there in the summertime.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to go there and be, an athlete and all these different things. But I didn't want to go to an all boys at that time, just because I didn't want to do it. I just thought, I couldn't do it. But I enjoyed my time there. I did it 3 different summers. It kind of gave me a lot of, I would say, discipline, and you embrace it. And I loved it, whether you're bouncing the court off your bed, folding up your clothes, it kind of made me a little bit, anal a little bit with that. My wife now, like, hey, you done put that back the way it's supposed to go. But, so it was very beneficial. I ended up enjoying it, like everything else that I did, even if I didn't know what really I was getting into. So, so that, and I think, the owner of the Yankees, there's a lot of prominent people, but I went to the school, but I didn't know that at the time as a kid. So it was very beneficial in a lot of different ways. I had no idea, but I just believed in Ralph Dow and what he was pushing, and my mother to do and make sure I was in a lot of different programs that were different
Kudos
than
to
most.
Mama. Kudos to Mama for that.
I was in a
That's
Big
good
Brothers Big Sisters program.
Yeah.
I'm a big advocate for them. At least when I was growing up, I was a little. I became a big. I was part of the organization. I spoke at the White House on that behalf there, and when we got here in Tennessee, so I went down there and did that. So make sure they continue to support the program. But so it was a lot of different things I was involved in that get the support being in a single parent home and around a lot of really good women, but tough women, and really would always question me about what the heck I was doing out on the football field.
Yeah.
I was like, dang, she knows more than I do.
Hey, we do know a lot of stuff about football
this is
now.
tough now. Yeah, it was tough. But mom was always kind of quiet, but my aunts, I think I would say I got a little piece of all of them.
Yeah.
Boy. I got some ones that was rugged and rough. And I got some was like, but why was you doing that?
So you leave that, you go to Ball State.
No, St. Joe's first.
Okay.
St. Joseph's.
But you spent most of your time at Ball State.
I did.
So what was that like for you, being away from that village and on your own and
That's a good
thriving?
question.
Well, that's a great question.
It is.
I'm gonna start first why I went to St. Joe, because I think people need to hear this.
Yep.
Because I tell this story. I don't talk a lot about my career, my maturation process, even in my own house. But I went to St. Joe because I wasn't recruited by anybody.
Wow.
So I made all city, all state, all metro, all everything you can make in Indiana. Actually, I just got nominated for the Hall of Fame there in Indiana. So I'm excited.
Congratulations.
I'm excited about
You
that.
should be.
You guys are the first ones to know.
Good. Hey, you heard it here first.
So so it really hurt me internally. That and there, I grew up. I went to Cathedral Fighting Irish, so naturally I wanted to go to Notre Dame. At that time, Lou Holtz was like, "Man, you're too small, this and that," and so I really didn't get recruited by anyone as far as a Division I program.
Yeah.
Even Ball State, who said that I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
So I had to come to grips with that, which was very painful. It's probably one of the most frustrating times. At that time, I felt like I was very frustrated and very disappointed. I actually cried about that. And so that's when my mother said that, God-fearing person, that, don't worry about that. You're going through this tough time because it's going to make you stronger. I had no idea. I'm like, it's not making me feel stronger right now.
Right.
So I ended up going to St. Joe. And the reason why I have to tell this story is because this is somewhat part of why I even played in the NFL.
Okay.
I get there, now I'm on a mission. I'm up and running heels. I'm doing stuff I hadn't done. And so I get there, I start at St. Joseph's College in Rensselaer, Indiana. By the way, I didn't even know where Rensselaer, Indiana
I've
was.
never heard of it.
Even when I lived in
You're from Indiana.
and I did
You
not
never
know.
knew that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right, so I went to the school with two other guys from my high school, and I ended up starting defensive back there. Naturally, I still wanted to play running back, but I never fought that only because I wanted to play more.
Why is it that they switched you? Because that's offense to defense.
Well, naturally, during my era, running backs were always the elite players. They were the best players, especially growing up in the little leagues and everything else. So I never fought it just because size, and that they always had a good running back. Everybody always has a good running back. So I never. I wanted to play more than I wanted to be right. And I'm glad I took that kind of thought process. I just wanted to play.
That's right.
It didn't matter. So I ended up playing defensive back. So make the long story short, week 4, we're playing, I don't even remember the school we're playing, but I get to play offense and defense because I had 2 guys get injured at running back the week before, and we only had 1 on the roster. And so they said, Blaine, we'll make you the backup here if this guy gets hurt. So I ran some plays in practice and everything. So I get to this game, and I play defensive back, but I score 4 different ways. So I intercepted a touchdown, I returned a punt. I used to return punts and kickoffs. I loved all that. And so, and then I played running back, and I scored 2 touchdowns at running back.
Wow.
So after this game, naturally we won. After this game, 2 NFL scouts come up to me. Yeah, this is why I made it to the
God.
league.
Wow.
Favor.
You talking about the man upstairs? Wow.
Yes.
Listen.
Yes.
So
And your mama praying.
this is literally 4 months after nobody recruited me.
Wow.
To Division I. And it is the Giants and the Jets. I'll never forget it. And the guy goes, hey, man, you got a shot at the NFL. And I looked at him like, what?
Yeah.
And I said, for real? And they had on Jets, Giants, golf shirts and everything else. So they represented them. They said, we were here to watch another player on the other team. And we think you got a shot at the National Football League.
Wow.
And it didn't even register like the way I thought. I was like, what? It was kind of unbelievable.
Right.
Because it was 4 games and it was still early in the season.
Yeah.
A lot of things are going on. Okay, so that kind of elevated my confidence a little bit to a certain extent. And end up, at the end of the season, making Division II All-American and all conference, all awards you can make. So I go back to my high school coach, who was actually the president of the school.
Wow.
And see, that's who I was. So I'm getting this insight on, not my mother, is me. I go sit down. I'm going to tell you this. Now, I really wanted the dot his I. I wanted to, like, hey, I showed you that I was right and you was wrong.
That's right.
Right, right.
Right.
Actually, your coach has to push you too
That's
at the
right.
same time.
That's right.
And I was a good student. I was a captain, leader. I've been a leader at every level I've ever played at. And I just went back to him and said, hey, do you think I can play Division I football right now? He said, absolutely. What I really wanted to say was, what changed in 6 months?
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Yeah.
'Cause why? I needed him.
That's
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
So he said, you can go to Indiana State. It was a horrible football program. He knew my personal situation now. I was a single parent mother.
Yeah.
I didn't have no money. I couldn't be paying.
Yeah.
And he said, you can go to Ball State. You'll start right away. And then...
And get a scholarship.
Yeah. Well, that was not the case. And you could go to IU, and you probably have to sit a year, but then you probably start. The rules are different then. You had to sit out a year when you transfer, whether you transfer up or down.
Okay.
So they used that as my redshirt year. So they used that time to evaluate me. My mom had to pay for a semester.
Okay.
And then they immediately gave me a scholarship after I was playing running back, quarterback, deep running,
You was all over
defensive
the
back.
place.
I did receiver. It didn't matter. Yeah,
Jesus.
and they was like, yeah, that was everywhere. So I was on just a whole nother level of. I was just driven.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got to Ball State. They offered me, and then I started immediately. But another drive there, which they recruited 2 corners that came out the same year I came out of high school. And so then you learn the business side of it is they had already offered these kids.
Yep.
And so even if I was better than them, they had already eliminated their
You
amount
know
of
exactly what
scholarships.
you're talking about.
Rick Mentor was my DC, and he at Ball State. He'd been all over the place, Notre Dame, NFL, Cincinnati head coach, and so he was a big advocate. He was like, so once they gave me a scholarship, he said that you are going to either be third string running back or do you want to compete to start at cornerback? And I was like, I'm
wanna
not
start.
Competing.
I ain't no backup or nothing.
Ain't
man.
no question.
So that's what that's
Yeah.
what everybody thought I was gonna say. Guess what I said?
What'd you say?
Who am I competing with?
I love it.
Yeah, I was a hot mess, and and he says, "Well, son, I don't think you need to worry about that." And I was actually cool with the the 2 defensive back because both of those guys that they recruited that year I came out of high school, they actually started.
Okay.
And so that just put a whole nother light under my fire. Like, oh, I know I'm better than both of them. So not only did I say that, I said, who is getting benched?
Okay.
Yeah.
Because those 2 were freshmen that year, or sophomore, same year as me.
Yeah.
And he said, don't worry about that. I think we'll be okay. Because they were good players. I just knew they weren't better than me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I wasn't the type to go around. I wasn't a talker like, about what I can and can't do. That just was never my style.
You had the
doing
quiet
it.
confidence, so you didn't really just brag about what you could do, right?
Yeah. And that all developed because of belief and people believing in me, and just through my childhood of having internal confidence about who I am and not worry about what people think about you or what you do or don't have, because I didn't have a lot. So that was just ingrained in me. That's kind of somewhat the story of Blaine Bishop, how I got here. So
let me ask you a question. I have a kid that's playing football on D1 level.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for him to keep pushing? I mean, what would you tell a wide receiver that has other people in front of him that's playing, highly recruited, right? And he's not getting his shot because the transfer portal, right? Yeah. So what would you tell him to keep his focus and to keep him motivated and to keep him saying, and not just for him, but other kids that are at these elite schools that are on the bench, right? And all these other kids are playing and they're on the bench. And the reason why I say this is because we played Syracuse last week. The coach at Syracuse was like, why do you guys keep people on the bench? Because all you're going to do is make them go to the transfer portal. You know what I mean? You're going to make them go to the transfer. You make them go. Give them 7 minutes.
Exactly.
That's right.
That's
to let them play. Give them something.
That's what I say. You tease me. I say that about Tennessee all the time.
Yeah, and it's like, how do you keep them encouraged? Because you see all this talent on the sideline and they don't get to play. You know?
Yeah. Well, I'm probably a little different than most. So I would first challenge my son. I would ask him, are they better than you?
Right.
And I want to look him dead in the face because we're in a different generation. This young generation of athletes are more prone to, I'm going to just quit and move to another place, which is easy to do. But the grass isn't always green on the other side. So you need to look internally to yourself. If he is better than you, you must admit that he is. And then now I want to see how much you're going to work to be better than him. And then you'll get your opportunity. At some point in football, it's always going to be an opportunity. Your patience may not be there, which is really hard. But you want to have some form of motivation. And that whether he stays at that school or transfers, you got to look at that in a different light. Because when he does get an opportunity, if you want to, if they believe in you at some point, that happens. But that's the part that I hate about the portal. Is like they want the quick fix. Coaches, because of the pressure of being a coach in Division I level, is really tough. So, and they can see a proven product. Now, I have a whole different philosophy in my coaching style of how I would be. I would rotate young players in per se by maybe a quarter or two, a half
Yeah.
I mean, per half, and let them get some experience, because what I want to see is that if you make mistakes, which they will, and you want to coach them up, and then that's just the reason why you're not the starter and this guy is, it's implied message. But you got to work to get to there.
That's right.
So that's what I would do. Like like the Titans right now, like they're gonna probably throw Will Levis back out there. Like I wouldn't do that. You set him up for failure.
That was going to be our next question.
We wouldn't do that either.
This we were going to get to the
But
Titans.
that is a great question, though, because a lot of people deal with that. I had to deal with that personally for my son, and I felt like, I thought, oh man, my son would have somewhat of an advantage being that I'm his dad, but that actually played against him, because of the expectations.
Absolutely.
And so then, I had to redirect, how I was supporting him, and that, hey man, you just keep working and controlling what you can control.
That's right.
And then when you get your opportunity, don't sleep. I said, hey, I got an opportunity when someone got injured to be a starter in the NFL. And I said, hey man, I was ready. I seized the opportunity. I was on my playbook. I kept working hard, kept believing, that you're going to get your opportunity. So that's what you got to tell them, to have the belief, whether it's with that school or another school.
Right.
You got to keep working toward that goal.
And you also have to be careful with that portal, because
it can be
you
dangerous.
can get stuck in that portal.
Well,
because once you enter, ain't no coming back.
No.
The real story
I know.
is,
You got to have the conversations before you get in.
right. You don't
Everybody
be
can't
You got to have the
Right,
yes.
yeah, you can't-
You
you
already
can't
know where you kind of
I
gonna
feel like
go.
you gotta have 3-4 on your list. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
You can't be doing that. So
Yeah.
there's no illegal part of that.
No.
They can't be.
No, the student can't talk. The player can't talk.
But
to the
they can
school.
talk to the parent.
Yeah, I
They
don't
can.
know.
No doubt.
Right.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, so you haven't really talked a lot about your father, okay?
Yeah, that's a good
And
question.
how, as a man, and well, let's just start from childhood to where you are now. How did you manage? How did that mold you? And how was that going forward with your own son?
Man, what an incredible question. Nobody has ever asked me that. And it's kind of interesting, because I never felt like that I missed my father. I think it's because of all the women in my life, and my mother was so hard-laced and hardcore and disciplined. She was a computer programmer for Benjamin Harrison. And so, I felt like because he was never really there.
Okay.
So it wasn't like something that I missed, so it was, man, I would see him on occasion. There's a lot
Was he in your hometown still?
Oh yeah, he was in Indianapolis.
Okay.
He's passed away too,
Okay.
but he was in Indianapolis. He was on the other side of town. I have a step brother who's 4 years younger than me, so he got married and had a whole nother family.
Okay.
But at the same time, during that time, I didn't see him a lot. I mean, I can remember times I was doing homework together, and the last straw for him probably was my mother changing my last name.
To Bishop.
Yeah, and he sees that on my paper.
What
Yeah.
was your name
Yeah.
supposed to be? Or
No, my name was. Yeah,
what was the name before Bishop?
Yeah.
my name was Blaine Henfield.
Really?
Wow, we just know so much about
Yeah,
Blaine.
I don't think I've ever told you about that story.
My goodness.
Yeah, so I had to go through
Who
and
knew?
do all this
Henfield?
social security numbers, all this stuff. But yeah, my name was Henfield.
But she meant that. If she changed
Well,
your
I
name,
just told you this lady was hardcore now. She was playing.
she was not playing.
love it.
Yeah,
Like
she-
enough is enough.
Wow.
Yeah, but, anybody
carry
watch me
my
play
name.
my toughness
Right.
absolutely came from my mother.
Wow.
Yeah,
the
she-
grit and all.
Yeah, she.
So she changed your last name
Yeah,
to
she-
prove a point to your dad.
I would say so.
Well, how did you take that?
Well, I was
And at
young
what
at the
age was
time.
that?
Yeah.
I was 5 or
Okay.
6 or so.
Okay.
But
Just like Martin Luther King,
Yeah,
wasn't
so
that
I never. It didn't bother me
my name.
because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So me and my mom had a discussion. I was like, well, it doesn't matter. Whatever you think, is best for me. So at
At
that time.
5-year-old Blaine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 5-year-old Blaine said, "Doesn't matter to me."
I
Right.
did.
Yeah.
And she wanted. I think she just wanted to hear my input, just even though I'm 5. Because the reality is, he wasn't there very often, and so that continued all the way through high school.
Okay.
Like where he was there, but he wasn't there. When I say that, I meant. I'd see him on occasion, maybe once every 3 months or something.
Yeah.
Now I would talk to him on the phone, but
Yeah.
I'm talking about visually see him.
Yeah.
So basically, he wasn't there, and I never held it against him. And my mom, to her credit, she every time if I did something, bad in her eyes or wrong. She was like, "You act just like your daddy. How is that possible?
And you're
when
like,
he ain't never here?"
and you're like, I do.
And that's what I would say. I
Yeah.
was like, dang, I don't even, and our personalities are probably somewhat say, the same.
Yeah.
I'm a laid back, and people always used to say, man, did your dad when you in the league, did he try to come back around? I said, nah, my
He
dad.
didn't. He
Nah.
didn't. He
Oh,
didn't.
no, no.
Okay.
Never?
He respected their boundaries.
He
then.
never
Nah,
came.
that's probably that's just his personality.
Okay.
Like he would sit there and probably watch me if I was guessing.
Yeah.
But wouldn't say a word.
Wow.
Because naturally he's in a family now. He had 3 other kids, by the
Wow.
way, after
Okay.
that.
Okay.
And with another
He
family.
didn't want to
married.
rock the boat maybe with them.
Yeah, well, it was,
Maybe.
probably.
Okay.
And so I never really talked to him. I think the last time I talked to him before he passed, but this is in high school, I invited him to multiple times to games. He never would show up. At least I never saw him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I invited him to my high school game to our arrival my senior year, and I don't think he showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And so did he pass away while you were in high school?
No.
Oh.
He passed up later.
Okay,
No, he
okay.
had cancer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
No, years later. But I never talked to him. I talked to his son, my
Yeah,
stepbrother, but
yeah,
I never
not him.
talked to him.
So you functioned fine. You
No, I had. That's what I'm saying. I had a great support system.
Okay.
So when I talk about the ladies in my life, they were very vital. But I was in those programs, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. I was Ralph Dow. So I had people I could lean
Yeah.
Yeah, good
into.
support. Good support.
I could lean into being a little brother, which was his name is T.J. Wilson. He is passed as well, but these are people I would lean into. And I had 2 uncles,
Okay.
but they weren't really, them people I would be talking to on that kind of
Okay.
level.
Yeah.
But so I did. And my aunt Joyce, she was kind of really pivotal to make me look at things a little bit differently based off of the surroundings I was at in the
Them
projects.
aunties always do it, baby.
Yeah, they did.
They gonna open up a world
did.
for you.
They
Yeah.
did. I mean, you talking about at every games, every debate, every speaking engagement that I did growing up. Man, my aunt was there strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So, you went to the draft here in Nashville. It was amazing, right? When it was like
Oh, boy,
tons
it
of
was
people
awesome.
here.
Oh, it was
so
great.
you know how it feels, right? When you're there waiting on draft. Or do you? Right?
well,
But tell your story of how you got to the draft.
man, well. But there was a lot of things that happened leading up to the draft, so I have to give you that part of the backstory. The season ends. There's a couple games. Coaches tell me after the game that I had 25 scouts there to watch me play. I was like, "Damn, why didn't you tell me?"
That's a
And they were
lot.
like,
You didn't need to know that.
"Right,
You need to
you
know
would have
that.
played no different."
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said, "Well, you're right about that."
Right.
Because I played hard.
Right.
Leading up to draft, I eventually then got invited to the combine. Got invited to the Senior Bowl, which is the one that's really gets you an evaluation.
And the combine was it in Indiana?
Right, Indianapolis.
Was it still? So
Oh,
it's
I
just, you
just
went
drove-
on.
I just drove my Renault Encore with it.
I love it. I
My
love
muffler
it.
broke, everything, and my window could slapped down.
Right. It's
Yeah,
one of those
definitely.
roll windows.
Yeah, That's
Okay,
exactly
yeah.
right.
Bill's
Roll
character.
windows.
No,
Bill's
no,
character.
but I had tape on that one. Though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I
Okay,
had pennants up, to make sure my stuff
I
was
love it. That is
yeah,
hilarious.
So so I drove to that in the snow.
Oh,
Wow.
So that was the combine. But, I got invited to these blue-gray Senior Bowl. So then it starts setting up this, reality. Oh, I got a real shot. Yeah, I mean, I'm at Ball State.
Yeah.
It's not a, it's Division I, but it's not a Power, 5 program. So I'm like, whoa, it kind of came out of nowhere that senior year, but I didn't get invited to all the stuff. At least I didn't know until after the season's up. So
Sure.
we're talking about, man, that's a short window there of 4 weeks. So I went to all those, and that kind of helped build my confidence too, that I could play, just now TV wasn't like it is today where you see MAC games on TV on Thursday nights,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
The MAC conference, and you see everybody play now. Well, all I used to do was watch other teams play. And I'm like, dang, man, I'm watching, Colorado. Back then, Colorado won the national championship, or I'm watching whoever, Notre Dame or whatever. So I never, I said, dang, man, am I good enough to be against, compete against them? So that would always run through my mind. I always believed that I could, but I hadn't done it.
Yeah.
So when I go to the combine, Senior Bowl, blue gray, get invited, get there, my confidence starts skyrocketing. I'm up there guarding Quadri Ishmael, the missile
Wow.
from Syracuse. You know, I'm starting to play. I'm like, oh, well, you know, I think I'm all right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think I'm kind of dominating. I ain't just hanging in there. And that was the year Alabama won it in '93. And so they were the national champions. So at the Senior Bowl, which is in Alabama, half the team was Alabama players. I felt
What was
like.
your time? What were you running?
Oh, at that time, I thought I was about 4.4.
Okay.
That's good. That's
But
pretty
I get to
good.
the combine and I run a 4.5,
Ah.
5, and I'm like, I have never ran a 4.55 in my life.
Ever.
I said,
It was
this is-
nerves.
I don't believe that number was right. I still today. But
You don't think it was right? You think
No,
they
he
were
said
wrong?
they did something
They
to the
did
number.
something to the numbers, right?
Yeah.
And I had my lips relaxed. I was blah, 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 blah. I was rolling. I was not tense. I was, you know, you do all this training for that event. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it was really stressful.
Okay, so draft day
Yeah,
comes.
draft day.
Now you're at home. Clearly.
No.
What'd you do?
I'm in my apartment on campus.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you there by yourself? You don't have anybody?
No, yeah, just my roommates.
Okay.
Just my roommates, which one was a golfer, you know, the scholarship guys, and the other guy, we went to high school together. He was the punter.
Okay.
So did you have an idea how you were gonna, what
You got
round
the
you were
phone?
gonna go?
Yeah. I mean, what
Yeah,
you-
they kept telling me like, you know, 4th, 5th, you know, round. I was like, okay.
So it got to 4th or 5th.
Yeah, it got to 4th and 5th, and I ain't seeing my name called. That's why I wasn't doing no parties or nothing. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. But no, my mom come down, my aunts come down. I was like, I don't believe this whole process. I don't know what's going on.
Right.
You know, my agent said, you know, my agent told me 4th through the last round. I'm like, that's a big gap.
okay. Because how many rounds is it?
8.
It's only 7.
Seven rounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
My year it was 8 to your point.
Okay.
But
Right.
the pick was still there now.
Right.
214 is where I went.
Okay.
But I could tell you something really unique about the story. About 4th round, you know, my roommates said, you know, my 2 roommates, they left. They were like, dang, man. So they left. So I'm sitting in there. Like I think it was the 5th round. Yeah, it was the 5th round.
Oh, you was
The Oilers called me.
On the 5th round.
on the
fifth
telephone.
round.
Your
Okay.
phone rings.
Okay.
Yeah, my phone rings.
Phone rings.
I'm like, dang, you know, I had to give me a phone because I had a phone.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, hey, yeah, we gonna take you with this pick.
Okay.
Okay.
Did I get drafted in the 5th round?
So
You did not get drafted in the fifth
No.
round.
So
what happened?
They didn't take me.
Okay.
So guess what I did? I picked up that phone and said, oh, I gotta go stay for this quiz. So I'm about to go to the library.
Okay.
I gotta pass this test because obviously I ain't getting drafted. This is 5th round.
Because I need a
I'm
career at this
pissed.
point.
Right.
Yeah, because I start seeing players going, and I was real about how good I was and how good I wasn't, or who was better than me and
Sure.
who wasn't.
Sure.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
All right, that guy, he's better than me. He's faster than me. He's
But then
taller
you
than me.
started seeing people that weren't.
Right, that's the one. It perturbed me.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, it perturbed me.
Yeah.
So it's just like 6th round now. I'm like, who the heck is that played corner? I've never even heard of this guy. So I get up and leave.
Okay.
I go to the library and say for my quiz or test, I don't remember what it was. So I'm in the library, and it was a Bracken library, and it's a 3-level
Yeah.
library, really big, huge library, because I like the private, and, you know, I got to go in for an hour, and I'm going to get it in, and I'm out, and then I'm gone. I can't even get it in. My phone rings, and then the Titans, or at that time, Oilers, calling me saying, we're going to take you. I said, y'all called me before.
And this was round what?
This is the last round.
That's the last
This is
round.
the last
Okay.
round.
And
I'm
so
at
they
the-
called you. You're in the library.
Yeah, and they said,
right?
we're going to take you. I said, y'all said that last time.
And what'd they say?
Dude, this is an honor. I'm like, hey,
This
y'all
is an
said,
honor.
that's what they're, I'm like, hey, man, y'all lied. They said, we're going to take it. I said, hey, man, really? I mean,
playing
it
with
was
my
for a reason.
emotions.
Yeah.
Right. I said, y'all said this last time. And they said, no. We're going to take you. You're going to go to see us at the ticker. I said, well, I'm not at home. I said, I'm at the library. I'm studying for a test. So when I get home, I check it out.
Okay.
So were you excited at that
Yeah.
point? Like,
Did you see your name?
Did,
Like,
well,
we
you talking
are-
about when I saw it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, at the time when I hung up from him, I was not.
Because you thought they told you this before. I
was
got you.
not. I'm a believer in your actions and
That's
not your
right.
words.
That's right.
And so literally. And so I couldn't freaking finish studying for my test. Now I'm all jittery. And
That's right.
So I left. I go there and I'm sitting there waiting like, dang, man, they ain't gonna get back to my round. Who the ticker? Because they said, we took you. And I was in the library. And I was like,
Wow.
did y'all? I said, well, I don't know, man. I'm not there.
Yeah.
I get home, I see it, and so I give my hurrays and hurrahs by myself. And that's how it was.
Did anybody else see it? Did you get called?
Yeah, people call me afterwards.
Okay.
But yeah, family and friends, but it ain't nothing like people being there. But
Yeah.
I kind of didn't want it that way just because I wasn't sure
Yeah.
if I was actually getting drafted. There was still a part of me, even though I was getting a lot of accolades and saying I was going to go this or that, there's a lot of politics that goes into that, being that I went to Ball State. It just was no way around that. But I was confident that I could play with these guys, and whether I got drafted or not, once as the draft went on, that all I needed to do was get in camp and I was going to show my worth. So that was kind of where I was at, because me and my agent had that discussion while I'm at the library. Like, it may be better off that you don't get drafted now. Now you can pick your team. And when the Oilers drafted me, I didn't even think they needed any defensive backs. A year before, they drafted 4 of them. So I was like, oh my God, I don't even know if I'm gonna make the team. And then, I get to Houston, and they were like, Ball State, where the heck is that? I don't know.
So
man.
this is April, right? Is this usually
Yeah.
that's when the draft is? How soon do you go to
camp.
Houston to
Yeah.
camp?
Oh, well, you do what they call a mini camp first, which is only like a week.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
How much did they give you?
What do you mean?
What was your contract?
Oh, I don't think y'all want to know my rookie
I
contract.
do.
No,
know.
we want to know this.
My rookie contract?
Yeah.
I was last round.
Was it?
Y'all gonna laugh, because whenever I tell this story, it's unbelievable. This is the year that they just came out with the new CBA, so then guys started getting big contracts. So I was
What
that
is
first year.
CBA?
Collective bargaining agreement.
Okay. Thank you.
So they had just negotiated that, so the players were getting paid more money, and it didn't filter down to rookies until probably a couple years after I got in the league.
Okay.
So I signed for 120 and 135.
120,000.
And 135,000
But when you
with
got that-
$20,000 signing bonus.
But when I know you thought, honey, I've hit the jackpot.
Oh yeah, when I signed that, I was like, oh man, this is incredible. This is.
And what year was this? This is 93?
Yeah, 93.
Wow. Okay.
So the economics has definitely changed since
Yeah,
then.
for sure.
So I was 2-year deal. So naturally, being that I started my rookie year at week 10, I was underpaid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was kind of interesting. Then I had to continue that next year making 135.
Right.
Now there were some other things. I had incentives and bonuses and all this
Yeah.
other stuff involved there. And at that time they had what they call a restricted free agent. So even when my contract was up after 2 years, I still wasn't free to go wherever I wanted. So they restricted me. So then I made 800. So it bumped up. Then I
Okay.
became a real NFL player in my mind at that point in time.
Yeah.
And then we moved here.
Yeah.
And then they franchised tagged
So
me.
what did you think when you came to Nashville? Y'all coming to Nashville?
Well, I was excited because of I was getting to be closer to home.
Okay.
It is. That's an easy drive.
Yeah, it was an easy drive, and I was real heavily invested, not only in my family but all my friends, because they were all part of it. Because there was no thought process throughout my growing up, or I might have been the best player, but that I was ever going to be an NFL player.
Right.
Watch this. I was never ever, maybe when I was in little leagues, the best player on my team. So, typically that's how it is. The guys who are making it to the NFL.
So you got to tell us, Music City Miracle. What was that day like?
Wow.
That-
'Cause you were there.
Yeah,
For sure.
I was there. I was right on the sideline when this play happened. Now, to be honest, I don't know how much I know of the story, but we would do this on Saturdays when we never have equipment on, and I've done the play. Multiple people, they just had different skilled players do
Sure.
the play. And actually, it was Derek Mason who was supposed to be doing that play. I think he had hurt his hamstring or pulled his hamstring or something. And then I think somebody else was going to do. I think it might have been Anthony Dorsett. And then Dyson was available, and he was the only one healthy. And so he got the opportunity to do it. So they wanted to put a receiver out there. But one thing we had great players who understood their roles.
Yeah.
So when we're all standing in the huddle and I'm standing in the back, being that I was the captain and I was listening, Lowe said, Lorenzo Neal said they're going to kick it right to me. Like, dang, how you know that? He was like, they're going to kick it right to me because he had good hands.
Yeah.
So he knew, and he says, when I get the ball, I am going to run right, and I'm going to throw it to you or hand it to you, Frank, and get it out of my hands.
Wow.
And I'm going to go do what I do best, block. And so after that, then it was always that you were supposed to tail the backside and then catch the ball. So, it was rhythm, flow. If you had to do it 50 billion times, we probably would never done it.
Yeah, it
And
was
to
perfect.
be honest, I'm going to tell you, while I was watching, even live in action, I didn't know the rule then. 'Cause I wasn't looking at where he actually threw the ball. I knew where his body was. I thought the ball did not go backwards.
Okay.
But see, I was looking at his body, not where the ball was
Right,
released.
right.
Because he had it outside of his body like this and threw it back. And Frank could throw because he had thrown touchdown passes before on the team. So I wasn't sure. But once it got ruled that it was a touchdown, there was no way that referees were going to be able to overturn it because the fans were going livid over there. They were throwing stuff
my
at him when
gosh.
they were in the thing, in
Yeah.
the tent. But I'm going to tell you one thing that I was doing. When I was thinking and watching, dang, man, we just blew this game. We lost. I thought we lost.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, okay, where am I going for vacation? Maybe. I was like, am I going to go to the Bahamas this time?
You did checked out.
Yeah, I was like, I can't believe, because I felt like defensively, we had a really good defense and we played well. Offense had struggled that game, and the Bills had a really good defense too.
Yeah.
So at that time, it was a tough struggle that whole game. It was a defensive game, and so I was like, dang it,
Yeah.
this is maybe my one and only opportunity to go to Super Bowl. And then when that happened, I called it and said, this is destiny.
Yeah.
We are meant to go to Super Bowl now, because that play, that doesn't happen. That's football gods right there.
Right.
For
Yeah,
that
it
to
is.
happen.
Yeah.
So that
That's
just
what I
very
love
rarely
about the
happens.
game.
Yeah.
You're but the thing about your era of being with the Titans, it seems like there were a lot of Blaines. There was a lot of
Yes,
stars.
it was.
Yeah.
It's not now.
It's a
In
little
my
different.
opinion, it
Well,
doesn't
it's
seem
different.
like
She's not talking to
Well, you can't-
anybody specifically.
No, I'm not talking about
Right.
anybody specific. It just seems like there was a lot of.
It was a dream team.
Yeah, that's
it's
what I'm
harder
trying to
now,
say.
though, with the
That's
free
it.
agency and how things have moved and changed now. I was on the team with the organization for 9 years.
Yeah.
Like that's unheard of, and not a quarterback.
Yeah.
So it's just, it didn't happen. Even Eddie was there a long time. We had been through a process and molding, and we finally got the young guys to help us get over the snide, and we were at 8-8, 9-7, and we did that for like 3 years.
Yeah.
And then we
Yeah.
finally got those pieces cursed.
Yeah.
Players. It's just like whoa, man, this guy's
Yeah.
incredible. And so we were all together, and we had worked really hard, and so we all had one mission. Just think about this now. Bruce Matthews, I think, played 19, 20 years. That's the only Super Bowl he ever played in.
Wow.
So that's how hard it is. And just to think of
Yeah.
what the Mahomes and the Tom Brady and all
Yeah.
these guys are doing,
It's-
it's easy,
but
and it's not.
it's not.
And it's like it seems like you guys had a Super Bowl. It was in reach.
It
It was
was.
in reach. Now it's not. It's like
Well,
know.
it's definitely not in
it's
reach.
not in reach, and we never feel like it.
Yeah. And speaking of the Super Bowl, so you made it there.
Yeah, that was a man.
And Derek Mason, in that moment, came up short.
No, Dyson.
Dyson came up short.
How is he okay? Because
Well, it was interesting. I didn't know he was impacted by that.
Okay.
Until afterwards. Now let's not forget that I got hurt in the fourth quarter.
You did.
Yeah.
And I hurt my neck, and I had a neck brace on,
Yeah.
and they, carted me off in a stretcher, and I was gonna come back in the game. They thought I was crazy. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do this.
It's the Super Bowl.
And they were like, nah, we about to pin your head down to this.
You gotta go.
I was like, what?
Right.
I was like, but where are you at? Man, y'all better quit tripping, man. I know I'm at the Super Bowl.
Right,
I
right.
mean, so.
Well, at least you have an AFC championship, right?
Yeah,
It's not the same.
Oh,
It's
I
not
do.
the same.
They do give out AFC championship rings,
They
so
do.
I do have that.
That's what I'm saying. You got that.
And
yeah.
we were number one,
Yeah.
but we lost.
So Blaine, because
But you know what? The Super Bowl loss, people think that's the most devastating loss to
That's
me.
not your most devastating
It
loss.
is not.
What is your most devastating loss?
that's a good
Losing
question.
to the freaking Ravens the next year.
Well, you
in the
know.
playoff, we didn't even make the Super Bowl. You know
Yeah.
why?
Why?
Because then we knew we were good. We grew that year and then became confident that we were good. The next year, there was no doubt we were going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
On that team, we were the number one defense. Everybody talk about the Ravens defense, but they were number one in some categories.
Right.
But there was between us and them was going to win the Super Bowl. It didn't matter who in the
So-
NFC.
so-
So that would hurt me because that was the best
And
team
Ray
I
Ray
was ever
straight
on.
trash
Now
talk
that-
y'all.
Yeah.
And that's what I hated because he talked that trash.
Yes. And you talk too.
No, not then.
Not the
No. I let my play do the talking
Right,
when I was
right.
a player because I know what a player would do if they were talking smack to me.
Sure.
And I'm like, well, now we about to get Baltimore terrorist Blaine Bishop. We're
Yeah.
not going to give you the Blaine
Right.
Bishop that everybody knows
Yeah.
on TV. So, so I can go, we can go hood.
We
if
can
you
go
wanna
toe to
hood.
So that was your worst loss. Not
Yeah,
losing
in
to
my mind.
but losing it to Ray Lewis and the Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that team, the expectations
Yeah.
were we were going to win the Super Bowl, and we knew we were going to.
Right.
And they
Where it
talk
was
so
different.
much smack.
That year we got there, it was almost like that time when you happy you made it, but the expectations that we weren't going to be a Super Bowl team.
Was that the game? Was it here?
Yes.
Okay.
They beat us in the house.
And that's when
We never
and
lost in the
that's when
house.
The Ravens coach.
Yep, he was
Y'all
talking
put that
smack.
talking smack.
That's right.
You
Bill
put
it.
it up on the jumbotron, right? You
Y'all
put it up on the
did.
jumbotron, and then y'all lost. There's a documentary on that.
Yeah, you know I watched it.
I know. It'll make you mad.
I watched it.
I know you did.
They did do. They gave me some respect on that video though. They showed me body slamming Jamal Lewis or somebody
Yeah,
whoever
yeah.
on his head. Boom.
Yeah.
Because I was not playing.
So listen,
yeah.
because you before the camera started rolling, we were talking to Blaine, and I told him, watching him on the field, I always thought he was so tough. He was so raw on the
Gritty.
field,
Very gritty.
But you took some tough hits,
Yeah.
and so. Looking at the NFL today, and you look at your Tuas, and now a lot of the things that the NFL has put in place as far as protective helmets and things like that, which a lot of these players still won't wear because I guess it doesn't look cool.
It's not cool.
It's not cool.
What is your outlook on that?
That's a very good
You took
question.
a lot of hits.
You did.
Well,
And CTE and all that
I,
stuff.
you
I was
gave
giving
hits.
hits.
You gave the hits. You
I
gave
did
the
take
hits.
some
You
hits.
know what?
Yeah.
You're
I
right. You
did take
did.
defense.
But
Right.
you
Yeah.
took some hits too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I was I did a lot of alternative things when I was a player. When I say that, I would say holistic.
Okay.
Okay. Holistic.
Yeah.
But do you think Tua should be playing?
What is your
all
opinion
his
on that?
concussions?
That's a good question.
Because this concussion thing is real.
It is real.
CTE
That's
is real.
That's a good question.
It's hard to speak on his behalf, but I think there are other factors. I think why he came back. If I was making a guess, I think certain portions of his contract wouldn't be guaranteed outside of his signing bonus, and I think that's his motive to come back. Now, most athletes, you got to think about it. They want to show that they can come back not only for themselves but for the team, even if it risks some health. So it's not as easy a decision as we as fans or people sitting on the outside looking in. But I would definitely say there's some concerns there because I don't feel like some of those hits, they were hard, but they weren't knockout type hits.
Okay.
So
But
that's
his
what's
fingers
concerning.
were messed up
Right.
that
And then
time,
his
remember?
arm always sticks up
Yeah.
and all these.
Well, it's
and I'm
'cause
like,
it's hitting the right
spot
spot.
Yeah.
every time. And it's just, I
And he's
really get
prone
concerned
to
with
them.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious.
No, he's prone to concussions.
Yeah, so I just
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked after the season's up that he retires.
Can they make him retire? They can always make you retire, right? I guess it's going to depend on your contract and how they pay you.
Right. Well, that's
Wow.
why they sat back and waited
That's
because
right.
they know. Yeah, see, they know they can get out of paying, so we just sit back here and wait. So
And it's a concussion. I mean, it's
Right.
not like he broke a leg.
Yeah. Well, the NFL, once you become a player in the league, the NFL for all players means not for long. That means you won't be playing for very long. The average length of an NFL player is 3 years.
Okay.
And so they know this rotation about, how
Yeah.
every 3 years there's going to be a rotation of a whole bunch of new players, stars, and that's why they always advertise the quarterbacks and really no other position, really, because those are the staples of the NFL and that's their selling point.
And it's nothing natural about the game of football. I mean,
It's barbaric.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's
I mean,
barbar-
it's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I love it to
Would
death.
you change anything?
That's a good question.
Yes, that is awesome question, and I definitely say I was so focused and driven while I was playing. I don't think I enjoyed it enough. Yeah. So, you get on that grind and you just want to I want to be better than I was the year before. And you just keep going and so you're not thinking about the process of how to just take it all in at that time. Like even in the Super Bowl, just take it in. And, at the time I'm thinking about, man,
But
we
you
got to
think
win
that
this
that
game.
comes because of your grace now, your aging, your grace, and what you could tell that Blaine on Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now that you've gotten older, you're able to kind of look back and say, dang, I wish I would have just sat there in that moment and,
Enjoyed it.
you know.
But you were so driven.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have still enjoyed it. I was
Yeah.
kind of just focused
You was on a
Yeah.
mission.
on the task.
Yeah.
I really, really was.
Yeah.
So my background and everything, just how I made it. I kind of was an overachiever, and I relished that, and I felt like, okay, now I get to compete against some of the world's greatest, and want to see where I stack up. I was pretty confident every time I went in, even though if the odds were against me.
Yeah.
I felt like I had a great shot. So
Best player of all time in your opinion that you looked up to or
Besides
currently?
Blaine Bishop.
Yeah.
Oh, a guy that I looked to once I got into the league, and I moved to safety. It was Ronnie Lott. So I
okay.
wanted to be Ronnie Lott. So naturally, there's guys
So who's the best player right now?
at safety or
NFL.
oh yeah, that's Mahomes. Yeah, that's Mahomes. And
Okay.
that's he and to be honest, he's actually not playing very well, like to his standard.
Yeah.
But he can still recreate that at an end of a game to win because he knows how to do it. So, but he's not playing to MVP level, in my opinion, right now. Their defense is kind of carrying them, but
Yeah.
he's the best player. Even when
So-
you're not playing your best, he's still the best.
That's right.
That's what it tells.
What keeps Blaine Bishop up at night?
I don't know. I sleep pretty good.
I love that.
I love it.
But I would probably say this is going to be pretty odd for me. What keeps me up at night is when people disrespect me.
Yeah. That's honest.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, whether, it's at work or whatever, or just, pigeonhole me in thinking that, I'm just an athlete,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
just some form, unintentional, sometimes intentional.
Yep.
But I was always more than just a football player.
Absolutely.
And, that's kind of things I convey to my son. And if I wouldn't have, made it to the NFL, I would say I would have been successful at anything that I did. And by the way, when I came out, I had a job at State Farm as an insurance
I
agent.
love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was part of the call when I called my mother, like, hey, this is really hard here at training camp. I don't know. make sure I still got that job at State Farm. I think it was about $35,000 at the time or something like that.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, so I was always working for other things, but I was real big on my mind could take me further than anything.
That's right.
And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really believe that, and so that's kind of what I live by. But once I got my opportunity, I seized my opportunity.
Yeah.
to
There
say
you go.
that.
So, of course, we have a podcast.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Called Popcorn Champagne.
I see you
TV
representing
movie.
Warren Moon in
Yeah.
the Tennessee
And I got
Titans right
Warren
there.
Moon.
That's right.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, I got to
Chauncey.
play with the great one. One
Yeah.
year.
1 year.
He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Probably, he was the best quarterback that I
Yeah.
played with. I love me some McNair, but
Yeah. I
Warren
gotcha.
Moon threw his balls, it would whistle.
Yeah.
And
love
McNair,
that.
McNair's did not whistle.
Yeah.
Meaning when he threw it, it just
It was
Yeah.
like, I used to be like, what the? And I'm a rookie, like, I'm doing this at practice.
Starstruck.
Yeah, I
love
was.
that.
I was.
So, one of the things we always ask, because our podcast is about what, Tiffany?
TV, movies, entertainment.
It's so
Oh, I don't know my bestie. Oh, my.
So we always ask, we end with
I don't know.
what you watching.
Oh, man. I'm because I'm so interested in sports because I'm doing a radio
And that's
show.
fine. If you're
Yeah.
watching sports, you're watching sports. Because we do.
But no smut, no guilty
Drama,
pleasure on
reality
TV.
show, any of
No,
that.
well, no, I'm not
Movie?
doing any reality shows.
What's
but
your
I'm always,
favorite movie?
I'm always hitting up on Netflix.
There you
Me
go.
and my wife are always, watching some.
Because your wife she watches TV a lot.
Oh, yeah.
She and I, we talked
Yes,
about that
yes.
with her. Yeah.
all over the place. So I'll just be watching the show with her, but it doesn't really matter. For
Okay.
me.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'll have to come back and give you my answer.
No.
That way you're. If I
What did
need
y'all
that-
watch on Netflix?
I don't know.
Okay, this is going left. Well, listen.
I can't tell y'all.
Okay. Well, this is odd.
This has never happened when we had
Never.
a guest. So
I
this is
wanted
the
to
first.
stand out.
Blaine, you are a hero of a lot of people here. I loved watching you play on the field. When Tony and I first started this podcast, I reached out and I was like, Blaine, I want you to come on the show. This is like almost 2 years ago.
Y'all called me out.
Yeah. And so you're here. This has been amazing.
It's been great.
You are so much fun. You are so driven still, even not off the field.
The thing is for us, we're both sports women. We
Yeah.
love football.
I love it.
And we
Yeah,
listen
fam.
to you on the radio.
Yeah.
We do. We
That's
listen. I'm
good.
like, let me turn it on here. If I'm in the car, I got to listen to it because I want to know what in the world y'all
Yeah.
going to say
I
about
have a lot of lady listeners too.
You do.
Just say you
Yeah.
do.
And
We're
they're
one
very
of them.
knowledgeable. Yeah, very
Yeah, we are. We love football.
You called in?
I have not called
No,
in.
we ain't called
I'm
in.
not called. I might do it though.
No, you
I might
got-
do
oh,
it.
okay, that's about as bad as.
But I
got
just want to
moving
say,
forward.
you keep doing what you're doing.
Yep.
Because a lot of people look up to you.
They do.
And
Appreciate that.
I appreciate you.
We
And
thank you so
yeah.
much for coming. We are.
appreciate
This has
you
been a
ladies
great
with you.
It has
conversation.
been amazing.
Even like not on air.
I
Not
know.
not on air. It was so much
I
fun.
tried, guys, to get
It was so
a
much
little bit
fun.
more dirt.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh, it was
yeah.
fun.
I
But
know
we
y'all want
thank
some
you so
drama.
much for coming, and you are always welcome to come to Popcorn and Champagne.
Oh, wow, thank you.
So what I'm gonna say that this is the first episode that we've ever had where it's just the guests.
Yeah, yeah.
And we're not talking. This is
I get to be the first or something?
That's what I'm saying. You're the first. We usually will do like 20 minutes and then we'll go right into a show. So you are the first person that we've ever had, and it's only about you.
I
That's
will
right.
never be forgotten.
Nope, never be forgotten.
That is awesome.
So that's it, guys.
Yeah. So we appreciate you.
Yep.
Appreciate you, ladies.
Thank you, Blaine, so much for
Anytime.
being here.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, thanks so much for joining us for another episode of Popcorn and Champagne. This was a special edition
Yes.
of
The
Popcorn
Blaine
and
Hour.
Champagne.
The Elwood Hour.
Woody.
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 You didn't even go
The
with that,
Woody.
man.
The Woody Hour. The
Yes,
Woody Hour.
the Woody Hour. Sorry, guys.
Yep. Hey guys, thanks again. Join us. We appreciate it. Andy Cohen, give us a call. Tam Fam, give us a call. We appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye guys.